Cue that Charlie sound effect. Woo! This is what I've been waiting for. This is what it's all about, baby. Yeah! Patrik Laine has been traded to the Montreal Canadiens. This was reported 4 minutes ago. Elliot Friedman, 7 minutes ago. Renaud Lavoie. And now we have ourselves the return. Patrik Laine has been traded to the Habs. Patrik Laine and a second-round pick coming over to Montreal in exchange for Jordan Harris. The Montreal Canadiens are doing the Blue Jackets a solid here. They are getting rid of the Patrik Laine contract from CBJ's grasp, and they're taking on a second-round pick to do it. It's an expensive deal, $8.7 million a year, and there is no salary retention. Montreal is taking on the full bulk of Patty Laine and that big, juicy, thick contract. Jordan Harris is the return. Now, the interesting thing about this is, we actually did make a video earlier in the summer saying, hey, could there be a Laine for Jordan Harris trade? Is that the idea? Laine for Harris, Laine for Harris? And you know what? It actually comes true here. That is the actual deal. And I think if you wanted to get some analysis on that, we could just literally bring up the other video, copy it and paste it, and call it a day. But I guess, just to, do our due diligence and make everything proper, we're gonna have to make this video as official as we can make it. CBJ did not retain any salary on Laine, which obviously decreased the return. Montreal takes on the full $8.7 million for the next 2 seasons. And that's kind of the thing, right? We know that Montreal Canadiens hockey has kind of gotten burned the past few years when thinking about big power wingers in Columbus that are coming off of bad years and who have shown off well in the past. Montreal, a few years ago, they took their chances in believing in one of these power wingers and giving them an opportunity at a big, long dollar amount. Josh Anderson was that last example. It didn't work. Now Patty Laine is here in Montreal, 26 years old, $8.7 million a year till the end of 2025-2026, 6'5", 216 right-handed guy. And this previous season, he had 9 points in 18 games played. Half a point a game, which is nice, but he was dealing with injuries and he did go through the NHL's Players Assistance Program. It's a far cry from the point-per-game seasons that he had back-to-back with Columbus in the prior 2 years. 26 goals and 22 goals in these seasons, so of course, Laine didn't really have that same absolute pure goal scoring label on him. He kind of rounded out his assist game a little bit more, which is nice, you want to see the well-rounded nature of his game. But Patty Laine, as a 40-goal guy, a player that many thought was going to be just an absolute continuous Rocket Richard nominee every single year, or not nominee, they don't nominate people for that, it's either you win it or you don't, but a contender with that trophy every single year. He was never really able to capitalize on that. He did have the 44-goal year in 2017-18, but that was about it. Who knows if that's going to carry over into the Montreal Canadiens system? My thing here is, though, if you have Patty Laine in the Canadiens team, you don't want to put him on the same line with Cole Caulfield. You would want to separate that, have Caulfield, Suzuki, and Slavkovsky on a line, and then have Laine, Doc, and then maybe Newhook on the second line. If Ivan Demidov comes over into the next few years, you can have Laine and Demidov together, and that seems like a really, really good idea. My goodness, maybe that's the guy that will help Patty Laine develop that goal-scoring touch once more and stabilize it out so we can get 30 goals a year. But who knows, man? We're going to have to wait and see. There's another tweet that came out here. Is that something that we care about? Okay. It's Renaud Lavoie. It's obvious that Jordan Harris didn't have much of a future with the Canadiens, mostly due to the large number of left-handed defensemen, and he had already been in the trade market for a while. Yeah, Renaud Lavoie, go out there and preach it, man. That is, of course, what we were expecting out of this situation. Jordan Harris going over to the Columbus Blue Jackets, 24 years old, 5'11", 190 pounds, left-handed guy, $1.4 million a year till the end of this upcoming season. Drafted by the Habs in the 2018 draft, 3rd round, 71st overall. His birthday is actually pretty close to mine, which is really interesting, but Jordan Harris had 14 points in 56 games played last season, 17 points in 65 games played the year before that. It's not really like he got any better, but it's not necessarily like he got any more ice time either. He was really underutilized in Montreal. There are just so many guys that rotated around in the bottom of the lineup for defensemen. So it was never going to be guaranteed that Jordan Harris, at 24 years old, was going to have a significant role with this team. He was dangled around in all these trade rumors. We had been talking about him getting traded for months now. So for him to go over to Columbus, I mean, look, they're kind of in a desperate need too for younger guys. They want to just kind of feel things out with the guys they do have. There are some other guys that you could say are rotating around in Columbus as well, but I feel like there's a lot more of a show me and we'll give you an opportunity kind of thing going on here with the Blue Jackets. If you go over to their decor, I mean, take a look at just the names that are tossed around there. Eric and Branson Provorov, okay, so two shot-blocking guys with big roles. Zach Werenski, Damon Severson, okay, those guys are there too. But then you have everybody else. Jordan Harris is here, David Jiricek, Jack Johnson is a depth defenseman. A lot of these guys are pretty rotatable at this point in their careers. Obviously, Jiricek, you don't think that he's going to be that long-term, but for right now, you could say he is. Jordan Harris, I'm not saying that he's going to be given a huge role with the Columbus Blue Jackets, but it might be a little bit more stable with this team than the Montreal Canadiens. So him going over in the trade, not too surprising here. I think it's pretty reasonable for Columbus to make this trade, especially since their biggest objective was to get rid of Patrik Laine in the first place. They didn't want to keep on paying a guy $8.7 million to not want to be on their team. So that was a pretty big deal. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about Patrik Laine and a second-round pick getting traded over to the Montreal Canadiens? The Habs didn't just get Laine, they got a draft pick in exchange too. So Kent Hughes wheeling and dealing here, baby, getting himself some draft capital, getting himself a big-name scorer. Here's the thing, if it works, if Patrik Laine comes over to Montreal and he actually is that point-per-game guy, he gets maybe 30 goals and, 40, 45 assists on the year. If he is able to do that, then this trade is an absolute win for Montreal. We know the potential is there for this to be a win. And especially when you compile it with the fact that Laine wanted out so badly, how he was really adamant that he didn't want to play in Columbus, then okay, this was an opportunity that Kent Hughes decided to take full advantage of, and if it translates onto the ice, then it's going to be a really great deal for the Montreal Canadiens. Columbus, I'm not going to say this is a loss for them. They had to trade this guy away, they had to, and the fact that they didn't have to retain any salary is a good thing. Like, sure, you ended up trading Pierre-Luc Dubois away for Patrik Laine, and that's the entire trade tree if you wanted to go down that formula. It doesn't look great when you think about drafting a guy third overall in Dubois, having him fizzle out in the way that he did, trading him away for Laine, and then trading Laine away for Jordan Harris, of all people. It doesn't look good, but circumstantially, you had no choice. Realistically, you were going to take the L either way because of how Laine's career had gone, because of his time on the IR, because of his time in the Players Assistance Program, his inavailability to the Blue Jackets. It was going to really screw them over if you wanted to look at that trade tree from Dubois all the way to this. You turned Pierre-Luc Dubois into Jordan Harris. That's not ideal, but what are you going to do? You had no choice, right? So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about the Patrik Laine trade. It is now official. Patrik Laine to the Montreal Canadiens and a second-round pick for Jordan Harris. I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye.